Recently, I have been deathly bored on Gran Turismo 7. Haven't really found anything to keep me entertained for quite a while because of the insane credit grind I've been going on trying to collect all the legendary dealer cars. So the other week I figured I would mix it up a bit and do my first sport mode races in over 4 years. It didn't go as you'd expect. Yeah. After not doing online races for 4 years straight, it was kind of a shock to me how easy these lobbies were, but then again, I am starting from the very bottom, trying to work my way up. And, honestly, I didn't even know what to expect. I've seen quite a lot of daily race videos throughout GT Sport and GT7, and all I could see is the absolute chaos and wall riding, ramming, and other shenanigans that go down in online races. So being ranked at the very bottom at the start, I was anticipating some very chaotic races, and I was also expecting to struggle to climb my way up because of how dirty the lobbies were going to be. But instead, I absolutely destroy everybody. So much so that I've done 9 sport mode races, and out of those 9, I have only lost 2 of them. And I got second place in both. So then I was thinking, oh wow, I might be better than this than I actually thought. We'll get to that part later. So quick recap of what I've done on Gran Turismo 7 so far. My first sport mode race was about 2 months ago. I did the first race of round 1 of the manufacturer's event, and that was literally it for that series. I only did 1 race. Qualified second, finished second. Nothing really interesting about it. Fast forward to 2 weeks ago, I did the Trial Mountain Group 4 races. For the first 2 races, I used the Group 4 Viper with the Team Orca livery. Gotta go old school with it. For race number 3, I rented the Alpha 155. This was before it showed up in the legendary car dealer, so I had a chance to drive it before I actually purchased it, which was kind of neat. Sounds pretty good. Also pulled and won in that race by a ton. Can't believe the Alpha was actually faster than the Viper, to be honest. Then I figured I'd give the Group 3 race at Kyoto Driving Park a try, and that was also a complete cakewalk. And since I was in the Beetle, I had to go for the number 53 Jim Douglas livery. Only cultured people will understand. And that leads us to today's races that we're going to be going over. I missed round 1 of the Toyota Gazoo Racing Cup because I was at the track that day. Video link is in the description if you missed it, because apparently people don't like clicking on real life stuff and like gaming racing better for some reason. And that leads us to the Castrol Tom Supra race at Suzuka. Now you guys are going to have to bear with me as far as the commentary goes. I'm going to need to do some full disclosure here. I'm not really a motorsports expert or a fanatic, really. I haven't really watched that much over the course of my life, so I don't know a lot of the right terminology for it. I don't really know how to commentate over it as far as like motorsports things and stuff goes. I haven't done any online racing in 4 years, but you might be thinking, oh, well, he did Gran Turismo 4 online for the past year. That is in a completely different realm, and I don't even think I should count that as online racing. Oh my god. What? Okay, maybe it is in the same realm. But I digress. Let's get started with this. So qualifying for this event was kind of a struggle. I could not get a sub 2-minute lap no matter how hard I tried. I was seeing quite a lot of other YouTubers getting into the 158s, and the best time I saw was like a mid 156 on the leaderboard. I'm not an expert driver by any means. I'm kind of like maybe a 6 or a 7 out of 10. I kind of know what I'm doing, but I can't squeeze out the last 10-20% of lap time. So I think the cool part about these videos are you guys are going to see me improve over time, not only with my driving, but also with my commentary. Except for like basic driving skills, I'm sort of starting from 0 as far as like online racing goes, so it's going to be a new experience for me. And once my driver rating gets up, I should start having some interesting races. But for now, it's an absolute cakewalk. Race number 1, I qualified pole position by not as much as I was expecting, to be honest. So for this race, I decided to rock the HKS livery for a Castrol Tom Supra that I found in Content Search. If you can't tell already, I'm a big HKS fanboy. They are my favorite Japanese tuner, and they have the best looking liveries, so that's why I decided to rock it. So here's a perfectly good example of whenever I say I don't know what I'm doing. Whenever I entered the pits on this race, it looked fine to me. I don't think I did anything wrong, because, I mean, well, I just went into the pits, right? Well, no. So I leave the pits, and suddenly I have a 3-second penalty for crossing the pit line, which I could have sworn I didn't do. We'll come back to this in a minute for the other 2 races before I explain what actually happened. Anyway, fast forward in the race. These 2 corners screwed me up the most by far. The little bounce on the inside curbing. I went a little too wide this time, kissed the AstroTurf, and spun out. So that was a little unfortunate. Thing is, it really did not have an effect on my race at all, as I was 31 seconds ahead of second place after the spin out even occurred. Then on the next lap, I spin out approaching spoon corner because I'm pretty sure I was distracted. I wasn't really paying too much attention anymore because I was just dominating everybody. And that was just a little whatever mistake. I ended up finishing around 27 seconds ahead of second place. And that race ended up promoting me to a driver rating of C. So because of that, I finally got a little bit more competition in the next 2 races. One other thing I don't understand about sport mode is whenever qualifying started, I was sitting in the pits, revving the car, trying to change gears to make it leave the pits. But it has a just long enough delay to where I end up behind 2 other cars. So I was going to get slowed down for my qualifying laps because of that. And that was pretty annoying. I think qualifying, you should just be a ghost car. There shouldn't be a slipstream. I just think overall that's pretty silly. And because of that, we have a little accident in the S's. So that was a little bit annoying. And as you can see here, I screw up on the approach to the chicane. End up in the annoying AstroTurf once again, where I have 0 grip. Luckily, the guy that took me out at the beginning didn't end up taking me out there as well. Bounce off the kink corner once again. I'm not sure exactly what that corner is called, so I'm just going to call it the kink corner because that's basically what it is. Ended up almost getting a sub 2 minute qualifying lap, but not quite. Pretty sure that was my fastest overall lap throughout the entire series. So here we go, starting off. Since this is a higher driver ranked lobby, I was anticipating a little bit more of a challenge, especially in the first part of the race when everybody's packed together. I was expecting at least one guy to dive bomb and then have a chain reaction with the poor netcode and then just end up being a Gran Turismo 4 Online situation. But thankfully that wasn't the case. I was able to put some distance on second place fairly quickly, and I got a pretty solid lead over the next few laps. Here on lap 4, once again, I am distracted by something and I miss my braking zone and I end up in that really annoying AstroTurf once again, making me lose a few seconds of time. A couple laps later, I brake too late approaching turn 1 and I end up off track again. But luckily, I was able to recover it just before second place passed me. So then I'm thinking, well, I'm about to have a fight on my hands now because he's in slipstream range, so you can see right here, I'm really starting to struggle. I think my tires were already starting to lose a little bit of grip. The extra pressure of second place being right on my ass, as well as tire wear, was starting to get to me just a little bit. You can see the Canadian tries to make a overtake on me right here, but he brakes just a tad too early for the kink corner, and I was able to hold him off. I think we have a pretty good battle here for at least 2 or 3 laps. And I also get a much better exit on the hairpin, so that put up a lot more distance between us. On the following lap, I go wide at the very end of the S's, allowing him to make up all that lost ground on me once again. Almost touched the AstroTurf on the kink corner, but managed to save it just barely. So here's where things get a little fucky.
Something's fucky.
As you saw in the previous race, whenever I entered the pits, I felt like I didn't do anything wrong, which ended up confusing me for this race because I thought, well, okay, what if that wasn't the pit entrance? Because I noticed on the approach to the chicane, there was a little exit to the right and a road that pretty much led to the pit lane as well, so I thought, okay, what if that is the actual pit entrance and not the really short one? I don't know what I was thinking, to be honest. I was still on the fence about it by lap 7, which is usually whenever you should pit for a race like this, but it just never crossed my mind to go into the pits. So on the next lap, I decided to take that shortcut, and I paid the price for it. So I'm like, alright, let's see if he goes into the pits. And he does. So I follow him, go into the pits, do my thing, and by the time I exit the pits, there's another freaking 3-second penalty for crossing the pit lane line. And I was still bamboozled. I have no idea what I did wrong. I was kind of annoyed by it, and that's pretty much that. So right here, I tried to make another overtake before spoon corner. Didn't end up happening. I decided to let off a little bit because I figured if I tried to make that overtake right there, it would probably just cause both of us to wipe out, and neither of us really want that to happen. So figured to just take the safe route, hold off a little bit and try to make up my time throughout the remaining laps. Skipping to lap 13, the Canadian actually makes a mistake of his own at the chicane, and that allowed me to catch up quite a lot, almost within slipstream range, so I thought, oh, I might actually have a chance of pulling off a win here. Here at the exit of the S's, he goes a little wide, and it seems like that his controller disconnected or something, because he just started drifting off track, and then all of a sudden... Yep, this really is Gran Turismo 4 Online Remastered, isn't it? So at this point, I'm obviously right on his tail. Fairly confident I can make an overtake here pretty soon. Here approaching the hairpin, he ends up going into the grass too much, so I make my move, and all of a sudden, my inside tires touch the rumble strip, and I spin out. Gotta love it. So yeah, I wasn't really too stoked about that. That was quite infuriating, to be honest. But hey, we still got one more race to do, and it turns out we're actually going to be going against the same Canadian for this race as well. We've got about a 1 second pole over him, so it seems like I have overall faster laps than the Canadian, but I also make more mistakes, so that kind of balances it out a little bit. Here at the start of the race, it's fairly clean up front, but in the back, chaos unfolds. Not really surprising, to be honest. I was actually pretty surprised at how well I was handling the S's through these races, because usually that's like the part of the track I mostly struggle with. But instead, it was turn 1 for the spoon corner and the double kink that ended up screwing me over way more than the S's ever had. So that's probably the part of the track I need to work on the most. You can see here that the other Canadian spun out at the end of the kink corner number 2. So skipping to lap 3, I overshoot kink corner once again and end up in the grass, and I could not get the car back on the track in time, so I ended up losing a lot of ground. That was pretty unfortunate, so skipping to lap 6, pretty sure the same exact thing happened once again. The AstroTurf screwed me over, spun out at the exact same spot I have been this entire time. So whenever it came time to pit again, I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to take pit lane entrance exactly in the middle, so there is absolutely no excuse that I would get penalized for it. And wouldn't you know it, I didn't actually get penalized for it. So after that race, I went to go review the old footage and found out that my left tires were on the white lines. Not across, but on them. And apparently that's just enough to give you a 3-second penalty for it. So whenever it comes to pit lane, you absolutely cannot touch any of your tires on the white lines, but everywhere else around the track, taking 2 wheels off the grass in almost any spot on the track, perfectly fine. Yeah, it makes 0 sense to me. Now I understand why the FIA is memed for the ridiculous rules. Anyway, rant over. Skipping to lap 9, this is the first time I actually made contact with anybody. I ended up getting a better exit on the hairpin, so I tried to make a move on the Canadian Poirier. I don't know how to pronounce his name, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna roll with it. I break a tad later for a spoon corner, but Poirier just did not slow down enough to give me the room for it, so I'm not really gonna blame him for that. I mean, we both could have taken that a little bit better. I didn't have to slow down that much. He could have slowed down a tad more to avoid the contact, but neither of us got pushed off the track. It was fine. I wasn't really too bothered about it, and he didn't seek revenge on me either, so I think it was mutual. And thankfully, I saved the replay for this race so you can see the multiple angles of that incident. I don't think it's anyone's fault. I think it was just a little accident. On the following lap, Phoenix goes a little too wide on the kink corner, and we both end up passing him, so that was a very clean and very close overtake as well, as you can see it from the first-person view. Skip to lap 14, the other Canadian ends up going a little wide at the exit of the S's, so that allowed me to put some more distance on him and pick up a solid lead. One thing I will say about the sport mode races is that the ghost cars, whenever you are lapping people, are pretty annoying, especially like whenever you get right up on them on your important corners and they just block the view. And you might be thinking, well, just follow their line. Well, no, you don't want to follow their line. They're 1 lap behind for a reason. But yeah, overall I ended up finishing that race 3 seconds ahead of Poirier or the other Canadian. And overall that was a solid race minus my several fuck-ups I've had. But in all honesty, it was quite a lot of fun. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing some more daily races before the next round, because I figured I'd like to end up as a B or an A driver rating. I'm definitely not A+ here at this point, so I'm going to have to work for that. But I am considering making more daily race videos One, it depends on how well this does, and two, it depends on how much effort I have to put into the editing for it, because this video is going to take me a very long time to put together. So if you guys enjoyed my first sport mode commentary video thing that's everybody else does on this game, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, because I am a typical YouTuber who asks for typical things and I have no originality. Other than that, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.